American Moors are the indigenous people living in America who were given myths and illusions about their story and origin, being told that they are descendants of slaves which were brought here after European colonialism. The story is an apparent fraud which was planted in the minds of the lost people so that the present reality could manifest. All that changes within the moment and the blink of an eye when our perspective changes and truth is brought to light. There are no black people in America. The misnomer people could be called many names, I suppose, but I conclude Moors because the framework is already in place and there exists no proper standing or remedy in law for blacks or African Americans. Tying ourselves back to our true nationality is an important, tying ourselves back to our true nationality is important from a legal and political standpoint because to be afforded the protection in law or even political status, we must first be cognizable in a jurisdiction. The framework, and when I say framework, I'm referring to treaties and laws and politics. But the framework does not exist for an African American or a black to be recognized as having standing, rights, or heirship anywhere in the world. Human rights doesn't even apply to black people. Aside from whatever you wish to call yourselves, know that the law is structured and so is written from a legal standpoint that an American Moor is the true candidate for what the American people loosely refer to as sovereign. The American Moor would be a sovereign vessel in the commercial system of the United States. This is because the highest body of law that governs the relationship between Moors and the United States of America is a treaty that reserves the right of Moors to not participate in contracts which the Moor deems to be improper. Therefore, the Moor has an option to not partake in contracts of United States citizenship because the treaties that establish the relationship between the Moors and the so-called United States of America establishes that Moors basically have diplomatic immunity. And I don't want people to get carried away because don't take it into the context that I'm saying, oh, Moors, we have diplomatic immunity. What I'm saying is this: we have the option to choose not to participate in contracts that we deem improper. United States citizenship is a contract. That's the contract for which jurisdiction is conveyed. So what I'm saying is, as an operation of law, the treaty is in place. The treaty is active. The treaty is still standing. But I'm just saying, according to the law, as an operation of the law, that provision pretty much establishes what would be the equivalency of diplomatic immunity. That's what I'm trying to say. Thus, for an L. Day Bay Ali Al Moor, who is exempt from the colonial law and who once carried the slave vessel, talking about the trade name, on his back as a burden, in our vast evolution, could it not be plausible that the thing, the trade name, that once was a burden has now become our salvation? What am I talking about? I'm specifically talking about Moors and commerce and Moors becoming the master of commerce and Moors using the position and the infrastructure that was laid for us to have our political, diplomatic immunity and to have the unlimited ability to use our commercial energy in a commercial system that has already been set up by the mere existence of a certificate of live birth, right? Which now that we have become aware of who we are may no longer be the burden or the cross that we wore on our back that has now become our salvation, because it's through the infrastructure that is already put in place by that vessel and by us getting the understanding of commerce. I'm not saying that the fact that we don't trade with gold and silver and substance-backed currency is good or bad, but I'm saying that the reality of that being what it is Now these commercial vessels can be used to discharge any type of debt or any type of liability or to acquire any type of resource. It can be used that way. Now, of course, I'm not saying it's difficult or easy. I just kind of want to explain the unique position that I see for Moors who operate in commerce, because we have a diplomatic community and we have the ability to gather a wealth of resources. And as I will say later in this thing that I'm actually reading from, the framework and the foundation exists for every Moor to be a strong, sovereign political power holder, kind of like what we've read about in our history of what the legacy of our people really should be. The framework is still in existence. Some masterminds have put this together, in my opinion. But anyways, I have found that meditation and diet and becoming more knowledgeable of self directly increases your apprehension level. On an individual basis, most of our issues revolve around money or the lack thereof. This is an illusion that seems to be a reality because the position you've been shown and told to play from inception. Your perspective is one thing that creates the reality. As a Moor, I chose to investigate and master the laws of commerce, as I believe it is a critical piece of what we need and what we together should be standing behind. With the legal obligations of the United States of America and our ability to control these John Alex Doe commercial vessels, trusts, or whatever you want to call them, as beneficiaries or as grantors, then we the people, and Moors especially, can safely and precisely eliminate the illusion of financial scarcity. And it really can happen rather quickly, right? It can happen rather quickly because the infrastructure of how the resources and the money and the source of the money goes, that's not about to change. And it can't change, and it really never will change. It's just a result of us understanding that and having a shift in our thinking, a shift in our perspective. Because, our perspective has to change before the reality can change. In my continued studies, I have found that finding the way is difficult, but rest assured the path does exist. Right? The path always exists. It's just finding it is difficult. So I hope to share with you my path. And I hope to leave you with the following action items. How can we use this information to protect each other, to build each other, to strengthen each other, to even educate each other? How can you take what I'm about to share with you to patch into the areas that you didn't understand, and how can you take the areas that you didn't understand and convey them to me so that I can build in what I'm doing and that we can collectively build together? Who will dedicate their time and labor to spreading this knowledge within the community? Who will put together study groups? Who will arrange gatherings and parades so Moors can wear their fezzes and march and waken other Moors who do not know who they are and think that they're African Americans or some other crazy classification like that? Who will make clothing to promote awareness? How can you take whatever it is that you do and make it profitable and use it for the uplifting and raising of the consciousness of our people? That being said, because I'm aware that many individuals who are seeking after truth and remedies in law are frequents of thctrust.org, and I am spending a lot of my time devoted to Moors, particularly the mission of finding a surefire way to every time get these brothers released out of prisons and jails and to help brothers from falling in that trap. So if you are a Moor, send me an email to Moors, Moors, at thctrust.org, so that I can add you to a separate list for Moors that I'll be speaking with Moors, dealing with Moorish issues, and it'll kind of be separate from the commerce part. and everyone that has received this email, you're already on the list, so you don't have to send me another email because I'm still going to be doing the commercial side of things. I'm just trying to create a separate forum for when I deal with Moors and Moorish issues, and maybe even have other callers come in, which will really probably not be really related with commerce, but just on building as a nation, how I can help, how you can help, how we can put our resources together and just continue to build. So for that, email me at moors@thctrust.org, and also me and some of the other people that assist here at thctrust.org, we were talking about putting together a roster, um, something like a roster. Roster is probably not the correct word, but just um, a directory. That's what I'm trying to say. A directory of Moors that have businesses, and I'm saying any kind of business. I don't care what it is. If you are serious about your business, then send me a brief 1 or 2 line about your business, your mailing address, your telephone number, and understand that the information that you're sending will probably be posted in a directory. So whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, whether you sell shea butter, out of a tub, whether you make jewelry, I don't care what it is, whether you're into production, it doesn't matter. If you would like to be in a um, directory for Moors so that we can start doing commerce together and supporting and building like every other ethnicity and nationality does, then send that email to moors@thctrust.org. And now I'm about to go into the commercial part of this. So, hold on, let me make sure there's nothing else I had to say on the Moorish part. Yes, so I'm going to go into the commercial part of this. I also want to say that I was just talking to you now, so now the next part of this, the commercial side, I use this kind of unique system to convey what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like training, I guess, if you will. And I hope it resonates, and my intent is to make you understand certain concepts about commerce that you heard, but I want for them to penetrate your thinking in a different type of way so that it can unlock the things in your mind that you already know. So I do welcome, and it must be constructive criticism. I do welcome, or even just let me know. Yes, I understand. Let me know if it's relevant what I'm doing. If it's applicable, if you can comprehend it, if you're building from it, if it's just making you more confused. Let me know. Just give me your feedback. I guess that's what I'm asking for. Okay, so now let me go into the commercial part of this.